Okay, welcome to the regular meeting of the City of Ojai Arts Commission. Let's do roll call, please, liaison.
Absolutely. Chair West.
Present.
Vice Chair Steiner.
Present.
Commissioner Grau.
Here.
Commissioner Leitz. Not present. Commissioner
Who's left?
Wilson. Right. My goodness. Sorry. It's been a while. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a quorum. We have a quorum.
Yes. Quorum. You may proceed.
Oh, I'm looking at the last month's too. I think it's pledge time. Let's do this. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. They used to say grace. Whoever eats Father, Son, Holy Ghost, whoever eats the fastest gets the most. So we'll do a quickie. All right. Do we have any public comments in the room or online?
We have no public comments in the room, and we have no public comments online.
Great. Thank you. So I would like to ask Christine to introduce our introducer.
Thank you. That gives me great pleasure to introduce Kathleen Schaefer, who's the president of the Ojai Film Society. And I know you've been here before, or your colleagues have, to talk to us both about last year's program as well as to present during the grants program. But we wanted you back again for this season because what the Film Society does for this community is so enormously important. You fill Libby Bowl throughout the summer with really great movies. It's family fun, individual fun, childless cat lady fun. It's just so much fun. And thank you very much for that, and we look forward to your presentation.
Well, thank you so much for that recognition, Commissioner Steiner. Again, I'm Kathleen Schaefer, the president of the Ojai Film Society Board. We're an all-volunteer organization that was founded here in Ojai in 1988, well before all of the current board members, absent the one who was born here, were a part of this community. So we have deep roots in the community in providing access to documentary, foreign, classic, and independent film. And as we came out of the COVID pandemic, we reinvigorated our mission, and we've really been pleased with, as you've mentioned, the reception from the community, and that is to not only offer these types of films, but to offer them outdoors in community for free. And the City of Ojai and the Arts Commission have been big partners in that process and have made it what has really become, I think, in our third season, not only a success, but is becoming more of a tradition here in the community, which is exactly what we wanted. So just to give you a little sense of what we're doing, and then I can talk more specifically about this summer, is that, outdoors, our inclination coming out of the pandemic is that we all needed a place to be able to come together that we felt comfortable in, and we have the beautiful facility of Libby Bowl that was there, and as you said, Commissioner Steiner, really was underutilized by our community, especially in terms of something that was accessible to all. So that was a big part of why we decided to start doing this. The Parks and Rec Commission has been very gracious in granting us a waiver for the fee, which makes it possible for us to be able to do that. I'll mention it a little bit later, but one of the things that we have asked Councilmember Lang is willing to do, but is to establish legacy dates so that we are able to have the same 6 dates that we have been presenting in perpetuity, and we would also love it if we could get the Libby Bowl free waiver and as a part of that, so we didn't have to go through the process every year and save everybody the trouble. But any support you can give us on that with the city manager's office and with the city council would be wonderful. I think as long as we're able to offer these films for free, it would be really great to continue that partnership at Libby Bowl. And so that's the outdoor piece. The community piece has been really fun and rewarding. First of all, like I said, we're an all-volunteer board. There are 11 of us. These are people from throughout the community that literally spend hundreds of hours throughout the year, picking these films, getting everything that we have to get ready, all of the promotion that we do, and everyone just enjoys it. And it's been a way, especially I'm very proud of the fact that most of the board members are much younger than I am, and so it's a nice way that we've been able to continue to keep people volunteering and keeping our community vital and alive. So that's been a part of the community. We've received, tremendous support from a lot of the businesses. Many of them will hang our posters up, which I'll mention, display that. We've had partners with the restaurants. We have Ojai Ice Cream show up. I mean, there's just been a lot of support throughout the community for this. And I really need to mention that having this for free was important to us. We wanted it as something that everybody can come to, everyone can enjoy. Of course, the fact that people can come for free doesn't mean it is free, and this community has stepped forward to support these screenings. Each screening just in particular cost us about $3,000 to put on, and then there's, some of the other expenses throughout the year. As you probably know, Hotela Roblar has stepped up as, our main sponsor, our premier sponsor these past 2 summers, which has just given us the breathing room to do that. There are a lot of other businesses that have stepped forward this year. Patty Walter and her team came in as what we call a platinum sponsor this year, as well as Shelter Social Club, and those have really helped us. We have a lot of other businesses. Ojai Valley Inn has given us $2,500, which has been great. But this is what allows us to keep going and to not have to be able to spend so much time on the fundraising and to be able to focus on the films. So this summer, we were really excited to be able to kind of come into this 3rd year feeling like, okay, we've got this a little bit. We each year create a poster that we kind of like to do that, creates the theme and the signature. Again, people spend just countless hours curating these groups of film, and the theme for this year is There's No Place Like Home. Because Pam and I have talked about this before, is that it's so important that people not only feel good about the individual films, they feel good about the series, and we want them to feel good about this community. So There's No Place Like Home is our theme this year, and we have our sizzle reel, which I think maybe is ready for people to see. I know, it's coming.
Home is where I want to be. Pick me up and turn me round. I feel numb, born with a weak heart. I guess I must be having fun. The less we say about it, the better. Make it up as we go along.
Okay, good. We again encourage anyone who's listening. You can follow us on Instagram. We have our website. So, however you want to connect with us, we love to have people follow us. But the films this summer, we've had the first 2 already. Stop Making Sense, which was the Talking Heads film, was our first film. And were any of you there? Okay, well, you missed it. What was so amazing about that film was that we wound up with probably, of the 700 or so attendees, about 200 or 300 wound up dancing in front of the screen. And then there was actually a letter to the editor that talked about how joyful it was to be able to have that experience in Ojai, which just made us feel so incredible. Last week we did Back to the Future. We always like to kind of do one nostalgic classic film. And again, that was fun to have people cheering when the DeLorean takes off and all those kinds of things. Next week we have Next Goal Wins, which is a foreign film. And it's really a great uplifting film about the Samoa soccer team. So after kind of all of the soccer we've been watching this year, this will be a fun way to take a look at it. We have a little bit of a difference or a break in our schedule this year because of some of the challenges we had earlier with, scheduling for Libby Bowl, which we have already rectified for next year. So we're not able to screen the Friday after Labor Day, which is the normal pace. And we go to then the third week of September 20th, which is really kind of, we always like to have that classic musical film, and we're doing The Wizard of Oz this year. Very excited because most people have not seen The Wizard of Oz on a big screen because many of us grew up watching it on TV, right? And just in case you don't know, most of us have probably never seen the full film because it was edited down to be broadcast with the commercials. So we really encourage people to come out and see the full film. So we're excited about that. The next week is our documentary, My on the Wave, which is about one of the best female surfers in the world. And then we finish up a little bit later, but close to our normal, Within the Heights. So that's, our schedule for the year. We feel very good with the response that we're getting. We typically wind up with anywhere between 600 and 700 people on an average night. For some of our larger films, we've been actually close to 1,000. The Princess Bride last year, we probably got close to 1,000 people. Thank goodness for the grass in the back of the bowl. We're excited. We're ready to go, for many years to come, and look forward to just, being a part of Ojai and being a part of our summers together. So that's my presentation for tonight. I'm happy to answer any question that you may have about the Film Society, the summer series, our future, whatever it is. But thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight.
Thank you. I'm sure we'll talk to you.
Yeah.
You want to say
I
something?
have a quick question.
Sure.
Well, first of all, a comment. I love the films and I love the whole event, so it's one of my favorites. But I do have a question, just because I'm trying to think of questions people would have who are watching. And you mentioned that it's about $3,000 per film, and yet it's free and the bowl is free. Where is that insurance? Is it renting the film? Where do those costs come
Yes,
in?
all of that. So, after our first summer, we did kind of a more basic projection package, and we really thought that the bowl and this town deserved a good projection, good high definition. So, the bulk of that is the renting of the screen. We've developed a relationship with the vendor that's been wonderful. He actually purchased this screen, for Libby Bowl. But the projection in that, so that's part of it. Yes, the insurance. Yes, we still have to buy, the rights to the films. We pay security people to be there. We pay, people to help us run the bowl. It all adds up.
Yes.
But, all of us who are working on it are volunteers, but there are things that we have to pay for.
So the projector and the screen are rented for each film.
Correct.
So Libby Bowl does not own that equipment. That's, I still think that's something we should be working on.
Well, and we did explore that when we first started. One of the big issues, well, there's two. One is storage. There's no storage for that. And two, you still have to pay someone to set it up. I mean, they show up every time about 5:30, and they are working straight through until 7, which is when we usually, you guys know, right? I see you nodding. And then they're there for another hour and a half, 2 hours at the end of the film, breaking it all down.
Okay.
And it means also that you don't have obsolescence issues that often occur with technology if you rent it. And I remember expressly the first year one could hardly hear the audio because the fan for the
Yes.
Inflatable screen.
Yes.
inflatable screen was so loud.
And that's
So
why
it
we
made
thought
a
it
big
was,
difference.
we thought it was important to pay a little bit more to get the quality. Again, this vendor has been incredible in terms of working with us. He's very reasonable in his pricing. Like I said, he bought this screen for Libby Bowl. And it's really made a tremendous difference. And not to say there are never any issues, but to your point, he's always getting the latest technology and what we need to be able to produce or project these. This is not my area of expertise, with the highest quality.
Fantastic.
I have a question also.
Please.
David Berger will soon be opening the Playhouse again, and we'll have a theater in town again, which will be wonderful. And I think we're going to ask David to come talk to us also and tell his plans. I think that will be interesting for the community to hear. Will the Film Society work with him in some way, or have you talked to him about any sort of collaboration?
Yeah. We've had no conversation with him, and we are very open and happy to talk about any way that we can help expose film here in Ojai. So very, very much open to all of those conversations, saying that we still want to make sure that we maintain the summer film series,
Yeah, it's your
because
own
that's been something that's just been incredible.
And it's been incredible because for your short 3 years, well, really 2.5 years, you've managed to become the centerpiece of the summer of this town, and that's really quite a tribute to all the hard work you 11 board members are doing, along with all your others.
Thank you. Thank you. No, we appreciate that. And I also, just in the summer, sometimes people ask us, well, why don't you start earlier in the summer? Why not? And it has everything to do with sunset.
Film.
Yeah, well, and it's sunset. So starting at the end of July, we're really kind of pushing it a little bit in terms of sunset. And this year we've added some other community performances. We had the Ojai Ukulele Club that came and performed. We're going to have drumming. We're going to have choir. We like to be able to now, promote others in the community. But that's when we can do it. And then by, mid-October, we're also then starting to push. It's getting a little chilly by 9:30, 10 o'clock at night to be sitting outside watching a film. So we feel like we're in the sweet spot of what's, going to be enjoyable for people to attend.
Well, I know that when we had the county culture and arts people up here, and I've had a conversation with Ben, so I know staff is really in support of these types of creative economy where we have already have an investment, because what makes this sparkle, I mean, everyone loves a movie, but what makes it sparkle is we have this gathering place where we can put 1,000 people. And now, thanks to some new people in town that are investing, we're going to have our playhouse back as well. So everything is just lines up perfectly for us, not taking for granted, but actually using what we do have here, particularly Libby Bowl and Libby Park, to be kind of a hub for the city, because we have so many talented people that volunteer their time, and we know that it'll work. We have the right people, and we have to use what we have better. And you've done a beautiful job in learning and developing your product to make it be one of the sparkly things that happens. So.
Well, thank you. And thank you for all of your support. You've given us grant money, and we appreciate that, because, again, that's helped us be able to focus on doing all of this work. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you tonight. I really appreciate the opportunity to serve with all the great people on the board, and we'll look forward to coming back and probably seeing you during the grant-making cycle as well.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Clean. Okay, we're going to move on to consent, which is the minutes, and I know there's a couple corrections.
I have two corrections, if I may. So, Will, the first is on 6A. And the discussion is that it was a motion by Chair West with a second by Chair West. And I think as Lady Macbeth. So on 6A, it's a motion by Chair West, seconded by Chair West. So I think we need to correct one or the other.
I believe it's a second by Commissioner Leeds. So I'll make that
You'll make
adjustment
that,
for
okay.
the next minutes, yes.
As Lady Macbeth would say, you can't done twice and then done double.
Thank you. Good catch.
Okay. I do have one other change, or requested change, and that's jumping up to 5. And that related to the slight amendation of the copyright discussion for the April minutes. You were, I know we all got so busy, but you were going to run that amendation by me so that we could sort of tidy up those minutes, and then I guess we can tidy up these minutes after that's done.
Yeah, so I'll provide you with the amended minutes for the April meeting, and then we can bring both of these back and have them approved at the next commission
The
meeting.
next meeting, that
Yeah.
would be perfect.
Okay.
So we defer these minutes for the present.
Anybody else? Not a lot there. A motion to accept the minutes?
No, we're deferring them.
Oh, we're deferring for that. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, we're deferring entirely.
Well, we can make a motion just to accept those changes and make sure that I'm bringing those changes to the minutes to the next commission meeting. So just approving that, the amendments that you're recommending
Well, I thought you
should
had
be
the correction now. Yeah, I see. I wasn't listening.
because there was the one amendment
Oh, we don't need to
specifically
vote on that then.
for
They're
commissioner.
going to come back.
Yeah, they're going to come back,
They're
because
gonna
I don't
come
know how
back,
we
so
could
we'll
do
just
that if we don't know what it contains.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll bring it back.
Deferring.
Okay, let's get into our discussion. Okay, now we have, I know staff has prepared something and Karina has prepared something. I don't know, what's the, do you care what order we do? Okay, well, we're going to bring up this item for our grants for this year, and as much as we can, we want to try to have learned from last year, the processes that we used, our intention in awarding grants, and learn from that and do even better this year, where it was a record number of applicants, record amount of money that was awarded, and I think we have more money this year. So let's make sure we do this beautifully in a way that supports Ojai. In that regard, Karina, would you like to kind of guide us through?
It's on. I have just a technical question. Are we going to, right now, discuss how we envision that?
Right, what,
And are we having to vote on that?
last year, we used an ad hoc committee, and we were going to discuss tonight about doing that again. And if we do that again, what would
Okay.
that committee look like? Why would we use a committee like
Right.
that? There will be a schedule then of when these things will occur.
Right.
So I think it's appropriate for the commission to vote to use, whether or not to use an ad hoc committee. And then my guess is then, if we do vote that way, that we're going to ask you to bring us a ad hoc committee for discussion at a future
Okay,
meeting.
well-
And make sure that fits in with the calendar of awarding the grants for the first of the year.
So, obviously, we propose a ad hoc committee, and I want to make sure that we can have that approved and start forming that. It would look a lot like last year's, with one commissioner and 3 members of the community, or 2 commissioners might be allowed, because last year, I understand you only had 4 commissioners, so they only had 1 commissioner on the ad hoc committee open for discussion. I think 1 person is fine, since they're basically overseeing the ad hoc committee and giving the ad hoc committee instructions on how to evaluate the grants. But I know that maybe another commissioner would like to be involved in that, and I'm open to that. I'm, I don't know where they came up with the number for 3 people from the community. Again, I'm open if we want to have it more, to broaden it. I don't know.
Let's talk about it. Unless you have, I don't know if you have a strong, you want to hear commissioners?
Yeah, I mean,
Because we haven't discussed this. This is
Yeah.
what the meeting is for, so.
Well, I'd like to make a comment. I think where we went wrong last year was that the ad hoc committee hadn't been disclosed to the public at one of our meetings, our Arts Commission meetings. And so I think that's really important that we do that this year. Whether it's 1 commissioner or 2 commissioner on the committee, I don't think that's as important as making sure that everyone who's on that ad hoc committee perhaps is even introduced, or at least discussed before they go behind closed doors.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
okay, so we should make a note that we will, once the ad hoc committee is formed, that we will announce the formation of the ad hoc committee and the members of it.
Right. Well, we'll talk about how that works right now. Let's
Right.
get everyone's opinion on that.
Yeah.
You have something, Kristen?
I do have an opinion. What I want to do is go back to basics and go back to our 5-year plan. I absolutely support an ad hoc committee, and this came about with the idea that it would provide more engagement by the community, that it would essentially develop leadership as we move forward so that people who may come to these commissioner positions will have already participated in some aspect of what the Arts Commission does and has then roots in both this commission and in the community. And also that it would provide a deeper bench of participants. And I think that is its purpose. That was its purpose last year, and I think it was successful. And I would like to see us continue that because it's both achievable and important goals.
Actually, I had an afterthought as I'm saying, oh, we need to be transparent. I'm wondering if we should be disclosing who the ad hoc committee is, because we don't want people soliciting them who perhaps have grants in, finding out who the jurors are or who is discussing it and approaching them
yeah.
privately, because they're not under the same oath that we are.
But I think they could be bound by confidentiality. I think there is a good reason to identify who they are rather than that it be some secret tribunal, and that is so in case there are certain conflicts of interest or certain potential favoritism that would be out in the open and be dispelled. So,
Sure. I think
yeah,
just this process is we
yeah,
continue this
your
process
concern
of
makes
discussing it.
sense, but I think they're all people who could work around such potential for graft and corruption.
All right. Last year, I had suggested, and there was a member on the committee that was also, you talked about engagement and building leadership in the community, but I want to make sure we have the element of the expertise there. I don't think anyone here on our commission has been a grants award, director or manager in any way. So let's say that that's another reason why we like the ad hoc committee, because we can involve somebody who's connected with the community and who is also experienced in the grant process, because we want to make sure that we're using best practices.
Chair West, if
Yes.
I may, so we do have a hand up in the public comments, and we do have a staff presentation as well on this. So if I could give the staff presentation and then give a chance for public comment, and then we'll have a full discussion afterwards. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Okay. So I know this is butting in after already some of our
Give your
information
chance.
was included. But for the purpose of item 6A, before we get into the full process and timeline discussion for the arts grants, we wanted to isolate and make sure that we were having a conversation specific to the Arts Commission's direction on whether or not we would have the role of a arts grant ad hoc committee for the 2025 grant application process. We did incorporate an arts grant ad hoc committee for the 2023-24 submission process. And today, this is just an opportunity to establish what this year's process is going to look like, what the assessment of applicants will look like, and what the role of that ad hoc committee would look like if you were to approve it for another year. Again, also, we would like an explanation of the composition of what you would like the membership to look like. We don't need members specifically at this meeting. We could bring that back for the next meeting if we were to approve that committee. But yeah, again, just allowing us to be able to outline the entirety of what this process is going to look like so we can begin posting those ARC grant application portals online in the near future. Great. So we do have one public comment as well.
I was going to say, I just received a couple texts saying there's no audio for the Arts Commission.
In Zoom
or in
broadcast?
In broadcast.
Thank you. All right.
James.
All right, so we'll just pause for just a moment, make sure that we have an opportunity to fix our audio for any Zoom participants, so we'll just hold for a moment.
I see everyone's mine's the only one that's close here, so it may be a volume thing too. So I suggest when you turn your mic on, you have it within a foot of when you're speaking within a foot. Mm-hmm. I think we're going in that direction. We're excited and moving ahead.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, so we talked about engagement, we talked about leadership, we talked about experience in terms of the grants process. do we talk about what are we looking for in the grants? Like, how, okay.
Criteria specific.
So,
And that's something we're going to bring up in item 6B too, because we have to go through the procedural outline.
got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So maybe I'll just sort of set it and then see what you have, because in the grant process, there's a lot of things that could be done. It could be used, we could be looking at seeds. We have to say, do we want 501c3s? Must they have a fiscal sponsor? Is it individuals? Is it companies? Is it?
Are we in a position to change that?
Change it?
Yeah.
Yes, we could. We could. Now, when we say change, we want to make sure when we put this, my guess is we're heading for a decision to approve an ad hoc committee, and Karina, you will be sort of sent out then to come back to us with things that kind of match the guidelines that we'll vote on tonight. So,
And it's my understanding that the chair of the commission has the right to create an ad hoc committee.
Yes, well, as the commission itself, you have an opportunity to discuss and vote on your process and your procedure, and ensure that you as a group agree on how to best proceed with evaluating the grants. So yes, and the only reason I'm holding right now and making sure that we're providing a chance for the procedure to play out is we do have 2 raised hands right now at the moment. So I'd like to give the public a chance to address their comments before we get too far into a discussion and make any decisions. There's just a procedural.
Are we waiting on?
We're waiting on
technology right now?
confirmation that tech is approved. So if we could just take a moment, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
How's it going?
Well, I think we're in week 10, 4 months. It's, so it was, it was down to the studs, and now it's framed, drywall, cleaned up, and the primer coats on.
Did they redo the electrical and plumbing and?
Electrical, plumbing, there's, they redid the entryway.
Yep, yeah.
Now it's this big yawning door, and above it is a 4-foot by 6-foot skylight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still is the biggest, tight, and still is the best.
It's hard to live in.
Yeah, you won't know how good they are. Yeah, it's a big,
Deciders, it's like, they're not.
And that's what we'll talk about, so it's very clear. Like just sort of the input we've gotten there.
I know that word. It's a family word.
Well, we haven't
All right.
voted on that. This is the first action item, so other than the minutes, which we didn't vote on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So just as an update, it appears that there may be some sort of audio issue coming from the cable side of the audio distribution. So this has happened in a previous commission meeting before. There's nothing wrong with our system in-house here, but we might be having some sort of external technical difficulties that isn't allowing the audio to expand to specific outlets. So some people are probably receiving our audio and some aren't.
I heard from 2 people that they're not, and then Nigel's in his car listening.
Can they switch to?
Can Zoom take care of it?
I can, I'll go confirm with James. Thank you.
Yeah.
Some people are getting it, so.
Yeah.
I think they're getting Zoom link or on YouTube.
Yeah, so the YouTube's not working apparently.
Yeah,
the YouTube
if you're
is not
streaming
working.
through, it may just be the cable TV is not
And
working.
then
that's not YouTube.
Valerie Friedman wrote me that there's no audio on the Arts Commission Zoom meeting.
I know, because it's cursed.
Let's move forward positively. We're not trying to, we've written our letter. This is what I can tell. Close door.
We have been able to confirm that the broadcast is going to Granicus as well as to some viewers online. We are troubleshooting the problem, but it is something that is further along in the network than our broadcast and our encoders.
What do you recommend?
At this time, we can continue with the meeting as Granicus is providing a recorded version of this meeting. We will take the final recording with audio and we'll upload that to all of our standard outlets.
Okay, so we're going to move along. Are we able to get the public comment?
Should be able to, yeah.
Yes, we should be able to.
So yeah, we can proceed with public comment now. And we will start with Wayne. Wayne has his hand up. Wayne, we are unmuting you now. Yes. Does Wayne have access? Apologies, we're having some technical difficulties at the moment. Apologies, everyone. Should just be a moment.
I think it might have been Jules Weissman, because her husband's.
She should, right, it looks like Jules actually, because these mountains and the way the bowl is done, but they should give her credit. I really gave them all this stuff and credit. Let's go back to the.
Okay, so we do have access now to the public comment. I will go ahead and
Your sound
unmute
doesn't
Wayne.
work.
Wayne, your
When you're on the
mic is
microphone.
unmuted. You may begin.
So the whole part of the meeting we didn't hear.
Wayne, you are presently muted. It is your moment for public comment. We've granted you permission to speak. Please unmute your mic to begin your public comment.
Possibly if they can't hear us.
It appears they've lowered their hand.
Is there another one?
Yes, so we will. We can attempt to come back later. Wayne, if you would like to come back later and attempt to provide a public comment to a different item, to item 6B, you'll have an opportunity. For now, we'll move forward to our second public comment, which is for Aloha. Aloha, your mic is unmuted. You may now speak.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Your mic is unmuted. You may now speak.
I don't hear anything, just myself.
We can, yes, we can hear you.
But I don't even see a picture.
Hello again. We can hear your voice in the room, so if you'd like to provide your public comment, now is that time.
It says all.
I don't want to be eavesdropping.
All right, so we have muted Aloha's mic. Again, we provided the opportunity to speak for both public speakers. We could hear your voice in the room.
Is there a way to send them text or other sort of text, written messages?
Right, there should be, that you could just
You
type.
ought to be able to type it into the chat.
Right, we can hear you, just go ahead and
Yeah.
speak.
Or if they can hear, just tell them to send it in writing. That seems to be working.
James, do we have confirmation that everything is working in the back?
We are The same device that's taking our audio in and out is the same device, so we should be receiving and sending.
To both the public comment speakers, Wayne and Aloha, it appears that on our end, the audio and visual should be functioning. If you would like to submit a public comment, please provide us with a written statement at my email at the city or any of our Arts Commission portals for our Contact Us online. Thank you. We will proceed with the discussion for item 6A. I'll pass it to the commission.
All right, I'll try to bring us back. So what we've kind of decided here or talked about is that a committee for our grant applicants will be they will be making a recommendation to the Arts Commission, who will be making a recommendation to the City Council. We're going to look for people that we're going to task Karina to look for people that help us engage with the community, that can help cultivate leadership for arts leadership positions in government in the future, and have expertise in the grant award process. The suggestion is that one commissioner should be on the committee. Is that a fire alarm?
This is a public is only a test.
So I think I've kind of brought us to that point. Pamela, you had some ideas, but I think they were more like what will happen then in the next process. And I think just by virtue of us having this open discussion here that we've not had before, we'll kind of clear the way for us to do a beautiful job this year on that. Is there anything, so there's...
Is
Yes.
there anything else we need to discuss on that
Look.
front in terms of
That's up to you guys. You guys are commissioners. Do you need any more, it almost seems like
Should I tell the public that, the ad hoc committee will review all the grants applications, and they will use a scoring rubric to determine, which grants are stronger than the others. And we will take it from there in terms of whether they will receive their full amount of money, partial, or none, which does beg the question, does the city council want everybody who applies for a grant to receive something?
Well, we're going to let our ad hoc committee make their recommendation. And I don't know if we want to put any kind of constraints on. We talked a little bit about it, whether it's new organizations, old organizations, seed money, helping the ones that seem to have the most traction now, or helping the ones that need traction. It's a small amount of money, so it's we want to use it effectively.
Right.
I think that we can leave that pretty open in terms of us just moving ahead for tonight, and then we'll look at our budget numbers and that sort of thing. So do you have anything else or any other questions, Karina? So I'm going to make any other. I was going to make a motion. I sort of already did, and I think you were taking notes. But the motion was going to task Commissioner Wright with the responsibility to assemble a recommended ad hoc committee consisting of one of the commissioners of the current Arts Commission, and then was it 3 or 4 members from the community? And
It was 3 last year. If that worked out well, I've spoken to most of them. They all had a very positive experience. Thought
Does
it was
anyone have an
effective.
opinion whether it should be 3 or more? It's
Can
a lot of
we-
work.
Right? Can we say 3 to 4,
Okay.
or do we have to?
Okay, let's say 3 to 5. Why not?
Okay.
I think if
What do
the
you think?
idea is engaging community and building leadership, I think 5 is too many. I think first it's unwieldy along with a commissioner. Secondly, I'm not sure we could get that many
Yeah,
people at
qualify.
especially against the backdrop of the way that ad hoc committee was treated last year. I'm not sure we could get 5 people to step up until we sort of prove ourselves
Okay.
to be doing a good
Well,
job.
let's just say at least 3, because we have engagement, leadership, and expertise, so it's sort of like 3 kind of areas to say, at least 3, but if you, with at least 3 members, you got that, as we're doing, that will, I don't know if we want to go into the scoring, and I want you to, and ask you at the next meeting if this is working on our schedule, which we're going to look at in B here, and bring us to the next meeting a recommendation for an ad hoc committee that with resumes or your recommendation, and then we'll examine those members at that time in public. Yes.
So just to clarify, that was a motion by Chair West to task Commissioner Wright to develop an ad hoc committee to review and assess submitted 2025 arts grant applications with the committee itself, including at least 3 members of the public.
1 commissioner,
And 1 commissioner,
and do it,
including 1 commissioner.
good. And I think just our minutes and our discussion tonight about engagement, leadership, and expertise, we'll give you the guidance that you need. All right, any more discussion on this?
Thank you.
Yes, I had a point, and it'll take me a moment to recall what that was, but I'll raise it next meeting.
Okay, or if it comes up later, it's all right, too. All right, let's, all in favor? Aye. Unanimous?
Motion passes unanimously.
And we're going to move on to B now. I'm trying to, can you give us some guidance here, liaison? Will?
Yes, so I can provide.
Given us last year's timeline.
Yes, so I've provided an overview of last year's timeline, and so just to separate the 2 different items today, the first item was about establishing a process and developing the ad hoc committee for the 2025 cycle. This item is going to be specific to a more all-encompassing review of what the 2025 arts grant submission process and timeline and the criteria that we'll use as well for that process will look like. So our recommendation from staff is that the Arts Commission provide direction to staff on establishing a timeline and process for the submission and review of 2025 arts grant applications. We've outlined here, and as Chair West noted before, this is the largest pot of funding that we've ever had allocated to the City of Ojai's Art Grants program at $40,000. Last year's process was advertised on the city's website, social media platforms, and through the Ojai Valley News. The application deadline for last year's program was Tuesday, October 31st. 2023, and the submission of arts grant applications were accepted online and in person through the staff liaison. And just to note, last year was by a fairly significant margin the largest amount of applications we've ever received as well. And I think that was something that's really impressive, and it was a great meeting to watch too, as everyone came and presented those items. So I've provided kind of a brief overview here of how the timeline went in terms of the open application, the review, and the procedure to approve the arts grants last year. Again, we have an opportunity today to establish what the process, what you believe the process should look like from the Arts Commission's perspective. So I encourage you to have a look at kind of step-by-step what that timeline looked like and how you would like to best see the ad hoc committee incorporated into the review process, as well as your own portion, and then in a timely manner, our ability to provide a recommendation to City Council.
Mm-hmm. And so is this sort of this plan here public-facing? So this is sort of what the public sees?
This, oh, sorry.
Yes?
This, on the staff report itself, yes.
Okay, good. So, because, for instance, we just talked about using the ad hoc committee. I'm not. That doesn't need to. I mean, that doesn't go in this calendar. Is that?
We can create a new. We probably will create a new calendar that outlines specifics and bring that back to you your next meeting based on what we discussed today. So whatever you determine is the best
Right.
process. This is last year's process.
I'd like us to be, I felt, I don't know if we got off schedule last year, but when we run into the holidays there, all of a sudden, everything shuts down, so
We were deeply off schedule because at that time Valerie was chairing, and although she didn't do any actual work because she was on again, off again about whether she was going to resign, and we weren't even able to do any work during that time. So, yeah. so
And we
got-
extended
we
it
got
to
badly
end of
off track.
October, didn't we? I remember we extended the application to the end of October
I
as
wanted
well.
to ask, these were the last year's proposed timeline.
Correct.
What was the timeline?
We extended the application process to the end of October, and then they came in here to do their presentations around this time. It had 11/17 here.
And there were computer glitches as well, which
Yes.
also derailed it, so I hope that will be taken care of.
Right.
I
So what
don't think we
I'd-
need to dig too
that
deep
just
into
one-
last year's,
One
Yep.
night of presentation?
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So let's, I think this proposed calendar for last year is pretty close here. The only thing I want to make sure, well, one thing I want to make sure is that there's a chance for the ad hoc committee to meet, make the recommendations, and then we'll review them and no, that doesn't need to happen, that happens after they come in here. Okay. I'm trying to push things up a little earlier in November is what I'm trying to do. See, where we have the 10th and the 17th, if we could move that to like the, 3rd and the 10th or something, move that up a week and hope to get all our applications in by October. You got that?
Smitty, isn't October late for our grants? I mean.
It should be October 1st.
Historically, they were in September.
I thought they were earlier, yes.
No, it was supposed to be the end of September, but then we extended it to the end of October.
Right, but
But
shouldn't we go back to having them do like the end of September?
That's what we were doing. That's what we're doing. Oh, I see. You had to conclude it. Yeah. So it'll be the end of September.
Okay, like September 30th would be the deadline?
Right.
For the application?
Or whatever, yes. And, but the other thing I want to,
Oh, is the application ready already?
I know.
no, that's what I'm going on to next. James isn't here, but it was our hope to be able to do online application. Do we have any type of update from staff on that?
That's something that staff is willing to create and will create. James is very, very savvy with
Sure.
the IT component, and we plan on having an online portal that can include answers.
Can he hear us now?
Website. No, I don't think
Okay.
he can at the moment.
All right,
We'll
because
have that discussion.
because do a little bit of homework there, and I think I've told you, Will, that they were able to make I think a PDF entry form, but they weren't able to save it so someone could go away and come back. We need to have the application ready, whether it's online or on paper again, and we need to put that into a calendar as well and kind of work backwards from that. So, what,
So when can that be?
yeah, so,
Is that a question?
July, August. So we would like to have this, ready to go on September 1st. So there'll be a 1-month window. In our plan, we actually have the goal for it to be a year-round open. Once it's a technology solution, it'll be a year-round open with a deadline. And so I would hope that with staff help here, as we move towards a technology solution for the application, that will be kept in mind. I think it will be simple once we have it solved. But for now, we'll have September as an open application time. We hope to be able to do it online. We'll stay with our individual artists and arts organizations as applicants. Our committee or our selection process may winnow that, but I don't see any reason to change that. Let's throw as broad a net as we can.
So September 30th would be the deadline. How long? It'll take 10 days for the
they're going to come
So-
back to
so-
us with a.
So we can work with, I know you're working, Commissioner Wright, you're working directly on establishing the ad hoc committee. Staff could work directly with you or anyone from the commission specifically to iron out any changes that would be needed to the existing application. So any
Okay.
of the criteria we'd like to change, any of the information, if that's the commission's wish, that's something we could do.
Yes,
to
yes.
expedite the process.
I think, yeah, exactly. Let's,
And you would
Yeah.
have the time to accomplish that?
Staff will have time to make sure that we provide the existing application and criteria to one of your designees, an opportunity to review any changes that are needed, and then we would go ahead and make those alterations.
We have the grants application,
Right.
right? So we can skip that step.
Just a review.
well, we'll review it though and make sure it's what we want. We may want to make some edits and changes to it as well.
I'm just wondering about this timeline. It feels a little, and now knowing that it should have been September 30th, there's more room in here. I was feeling like this was very condensed.
Right.
So
Well,
with the 30th and then being able to distribute the applications within 10 days of the close, this is a question for Will.
oh, no, I think we'll get it up ASAP,
No,
or with the deadline of the September 1st.
No,
Well, it's already August 15th.
no, with a deadline of September 30th.
Well, it's just, at the very least, it's just this going back on the website.
No, but for this timeline, the deadline for people to submit their applications would be September 30th.
Yes.
And then my question is it realistic that within 10 days, the city will transfer the information to the Arts Commission and Ad hoc Committee? Is that feasible?
Within 10 days, so which information specifically?
You're the one who is going to have all the applications.
Yes.
So somehow.
We did it last year. It's already sort of done, just needs copy and paste. We hope to do much better.
No,
Okay.
I guess I'm not being clear. Looking at the timeline here, okay? So using these points of this timeline, I thought we
Already
were.
changed some, you
I thought
understand.
we were revising this.
Yes.
So we've revised that the completed application is due September 30th, 2024. Now we're gonna revise this date. Arts grant applications distribute to Arts Grant Ad hoc Committee. Now, on this timeline, it was 10 days later. So I'm questioning, it's closing on September 30th. What would be a realistic date?
We could provide completed applications much sooner than 10 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. Okay, so that 10-day window is probably too much. We could get those to the ad hoc committee for their preliminary review shortly after, like
Okay,
within
so
a couple
should we say
days.
1 week?
Within
give-
a week, certainly. yes.
Okay, so
I
let's
hope would
say,
be is we have it in real time.
I would advise that the next date in that schedule would be the completion of the ad hoc committee's review.
Well,
no, we have to,
just to be specific though, it will go to Karina as chair and then she will distribute it to the ad hoc committee. I just want us to be really clear. It's not going to go from staff to the ad hoc committee. The September 30th is a Monday, so I think that works well. 1 week, or within that week, but no later than October 7, which is 1 week, so it could come earlier. Karina then can, in the very beginning of October, get her ad hoc
I
committee
see.
together and get all of the materials distributed, because if this upcoming year is anything like last year, it's going to be a lot of work for this committee, and the more time Karina and her committee has, the better.
Are they going to be printed out for the ad hoc committee, or are they going to be a digital?
That'll be up to them and
is
staff.
it going to be submitted digitally? The application?
Given the type timeline, the turnaround here, I believe we're going to create an online portal for the submission to be available electronically as it was last year. As well, we'll provide an option where they can provide a in-person copy to City Hall to the liaison as well.
Right,
So both
so-
of those options will be available.
So if you have to make copies a week. So that's the next, that's the next date. So we're gonna say that is,
October 7 at the
let's say October 7th, okay? 10/7 for the applications distribution.
Right.
If you want to put into this timeline the creation of the ad hoc committee, which I think you were suggesting,
I think we'll put
that
that,
would obviously be way before September
yes.
30th. So
We'll need that by next,
let's have it for next meeting.
we have to, because then
Yeah, whatever when's the next meeting will be?
September
19th.
17th.
Okay, so September 19th.
Then October 17th is the next one in October.
So the ad hoc committee, the idea, the way the ad hoc committee will work is they will receive the grant applications before we get together. So they will have had a chance to review them. So they need lead time. So let's say we get them to that second week of October. We have a meeting the 17th of October.
Well, they're
People
going to do
want to
presentations as.
Do presentations on the 17th?
We've always said that the presentations are not required or a required part of the,
Right.
that. But, and that would be in front of the commission.
And that would have to be the meeting of October 17th.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be 10/17.
So the first thing we would have to, correct.
And
Yeah.
when I can schedule with the ad hoc committee, really, I don't think needs to be
That's
part
your
of this
business.
timeline.
Right.
Okay?
This is the
So-
public facing sort of thing.
Yeah, so that's
But you're good-
fine.
You're good to do your own timeline too.
Right, so, and we could be meeting, simultaneously that people are presenting, it's fine. So that becomes the 10/17, and then, this is what I don't understand, how this timeline worked last year. It says here, the Arts Commission reviews, discusses, and decides on grant allocations on the 17th of
Well,
November.
this goes back a year before that, really, when this was established.
Okay, so obviously,
Ad hoc committee
that's not
came
gonna
up late.
happen.
No, but that's going to happen at the November meeting, which will be November 21st.
But you would have received the recommendation from the ad hoc committee.
Absolutely,
So-
because that's what we will be
so this-
reviewing, because, so that is still correct, it just,
It needs a little tweaking.
well, we can add that the ad hoc committee makes its recommendations, but that's what you bring to
Right.
the commission, so it still is correct, and it will be the November meeting,
Which would be,
November.
well, what do we
21.
do? That's Thanksgiving? Is that Thanksgiving, November 21?
I believe it is.
It is.
Oh, the 28th is Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the 28th is
Right.
Thanksgiving.
We could
Okay,
do a
good.
special
Perfect.
meeting.
The Thanksgiving for the awardees.
So the 21st, you were getting this, everybody? 21st would
Well, just
be,
staff needs to,
would be the deadline for the, well, this is getting tight because the ad hoc committee will need their time to review, and we don't know how many applications there is going to be.
They have a full month, they have more than a month.
they have all of October.
They have.
Right, okay.
They have, exactly, they have all of October and all of November.
They have more
No,
time,
you would,
they have more time than the applicants.
okay.
But
Yeah,
You just need one or two meetings, I think.
But shouldn't we be on November 21st, shouldn't we be deciding?
Yes.
yeah, that's a,
So we need the presentations before that, and we need the ad hoc committee to give us
Yeah, it will be presented at that meeting.
in October.
okay, the ad hoc,
We review as well, because we and the ad hoc committee receives by 10/7, we receive those grants. So we should be looking at those as well.
already.
Not
Okay.
that we are going to rely on the ad hoc committee's judgment, because last year, we also reviewed those applications. We liked what the ad hoc committee did, and also, given the peculiarities of last year, we were under a very tight time frame. So, that was, that was in December, and, this will be a little more organized, but we will have that time to review.
Okay.
It's built into this calendar.
Yep.
And Karina will make sure that we stay on track, and James will as well.
Yes, so that's the 21st, and then we would, that day, hopefully have the decision, then the information would go to city council, and I don't know what their meeting is around December, the second week of December. That would be,
Their second meeting in December would be the 21st. 4th, which
What
are
about the
likely getting
first?
canceled. So it'll be the 10th of December.
The 10th, so let's aim for the 10th of December to be there.
Well, that's out of our control at that point.
Right, reviews and ratifies Arts Commission
Last year
recommendations.
it was February, right, so.
Why don't we just make it 12X 2024? And that's up to council.
Okay. Because we're done at that point.
Yes,
Correct.
So,
Beautiful.
all grants
so
received
we're done before
notification.
December. I think it's a good timeline.
Calendar.
I think staff will put this together.
What is this? 12/31/2024 Arts Grant Summary Reports from grant recipients must be submitted to the Arts Commission liaison at Ojai City Hall on or before December 31st, 2024.
All arts grant recipients are asked to provide a summary report of their experience with the arts grant. So that's the previous year's arts grant award recipients. They're asked and they're provided a review sheet, a report summary sheet that they send to us and we share with the commission on their experience and their work.
And Karina, that's an important part also, that you are going to, in addition to the going forward, you'll also look back, and many of the awardees want to come in and talk about how they spent their grant awards. So I think that's something you'll want to schedule fairly quickly.
You understand that's a whole nother year later.
And the
We're talking about,
earlier
that's
cycle.
it'd be 25.
2025.
Yeah. No, it'll be,
So
no,
are
it'll
we-
be,
Are we going to get?
no, it'll be 2026. By the end of the, I'm sorry, because they haven't even got their grants yet, and they're going to spend them over the next year.
But
and
we're,
give a report
but
by-
we're looking back. We want to bring in the awardees who got it last time. You'll want to schedule that at some point.
Yes, that'll happen
Maybe-
during this
Yeah, that'll
during this
happen after whoever gets their piece in. That,
Wait, come
that-
again? It's gonna happen after,
oh, well, it can't happen between now and September 30th. These people are busy getting their grants together for this upcoming year. But after those grants are in and we're doing what we are doing, I think that would be the right time for the former awardees to talk about what they did with the money, what they accomplished, how they enjoyed it, and what they're doing going forward.
and does the summary include the financial piece? Do they have to show what they spent the grant money on?
Yes, so they discuss exactly what the money went towards and explain their success
This
stories.
hasn't been happening, it hasn't been enforced, so you have a lot of
So I just
leeway
wanna- I
to
just wanna
come up
say-
with some processes, yeah.
We are going to be doing this arts grant summary report for the 2023 grants this year, or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
By the end
that's
of
what you want to
December,
bring
so-
them in to talk about. So they're going to submit it, and then they can, and again, they need not come and speak if they provide the written report, which they must provide.
they should
But
be
they can,
invited.
they're invited to come and tell us, and we know that some have already said how, said they've wanted to do that,
Great.
which will be great to
Yeah.
hear, yeah.
Will
It-
you send out a reminder to the recipients of that deadline?
Yes, yeah, we can send out an updated reminder to submit their summary by the end of the calendar year.
If this is the appropriate moment,
Yeah,
Mr. Chair, there's a point I'd like to make, and I don't know whether it is written in stone, that is, whether it's required, or whether it's simply been by tradition, but the grant awardees can be awarded only for 2 years. My recommendation, and if I'm out of order time-wise, we can figure out when to address it, but my recommendation is that in light of what happened with last year's grants, where everyone, irrespective of merit, received a grant, meaning that those meritorious grantees received less than they should have, those non-meritorious grantees received more than they should have. I would like us to vote to suspend that 2-year period. So for grantees who received a grant in the earlier year as well as last year, they would still be eligible this year. Those grantees who received a grant last year would still be eligible for this year as well as the next year going forward. So in other words, what we would do is totally eliminate last year in terms of the window of eligibility.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I suggest that we leave just whatever, that's the actual application instructions.
Yeah, it's not related to the application, but.
Right.
But it
So
is-
let's make it as broad and open as we can, given the circumstances and whether that, so when we talk to the ad hoc committee, we'll tell them, you're not being constrained by a 2-year, but we may,
It's not the ad hoc committee, it's the applicants who would be worried about whether
whether
or not they can apply.
they're qualified, yes.
Right. So I think we do need to make a determination before this application goes
And there should
out.
be
You make a
an
motion,
annou-
I'll second it.
Okay.
Do you
So-
want to draw,
and,
yeah,
and it should be tied into the announcement that the grant application is open.
Yes.
And if you, and with a caveat, if you've, how we outline it here, if you applied
Yeah, well,
already.
right, we-
If
Is
last
there-
year was your second
Is there
time.
anything else that we can do
Figure
with the
out-
same
You have to
motion?
communicate this to people.
Right, well, right.
They
we-
won't know.
Correct, we can communicate it, but let's get the motion
Where
down
is it
first so we
written?
can.
I'm looking for it. Where is
It's on
that?
the application, I believe.
It's on the application?
Or in.
Because I'm looking at it, and
on
I,
the
is
website.
it possible?
It is somewhere.
It says
I
you're
don't-
only allowed to get it 2 years in a row.
Yes,
Right.
and we want to make
I thought we
sure.
eliminated that. But if we have not, let's do it. Let's vote on
I
that.
don't think we want to eliminate it always. We may find that it's important, but we do certainly want to erase last year. So I don't think we need to look for it now. Let me just make a motion, and the motion is for the, Will, what do you think the motion is, given what I said?
So the motion and the intention of the motion here is to suspend the existing protocol that arts organizations and individuals can only apply, they cannot apply for the arts grant 3 consecutive years. Instead, for the 2025 arts grant awarding cycle, organizations who were awarded in consecutive years will be eligible to apply for a 3rd year. Will
right,
be eligible
right.
to apply for a grant for
Yeah,
an
right.
additional year.
We can maybe make it simpler. What if the motion, may I, is that we will suspend our 2-year maximum grant award for this fiscal year?
Let's say suspend 2-year consecutive.
Is that what it
Because,
was? That's what you think it
I
was?
think that's the idea, because you could.
Suspend
you could take-
2-year consecutive awards for the current fiscal year applicants.
Right.
Second? I'm sorry, I stole your motion.
It's my motion.
Okay.
But I like it.
I have a point of clarification, because
But let's
does
see if
that,
there's a second, and then we'll talk.
Pam seconded it.
Second, Pam,
Okay.
yes.
does that encompass people who applied for the first time last year?
That's what I'm saying. They will get a future 2 years,
Okay.
yes.
That will, yes, good
Yes.
question. All right.
But that's part of what I explained, that not only does it go forward, it goes forward.
Any other discussion?
Yeah. Okay.
Call for roll?
Would be their first year, so they would be becoming their second year, and then they would have to know that they would be able to apply for a 3rd year.
Well, they would know that because we're suspending the 2-year window. So this would become their first year, because their last year would not count. They would be 2 years going forward. So
people who
Mike, please.
first time, it would be their 0.
their 0 time, that is correct.
We're starting.
That's consistent?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
unanimous.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you for doing that. We'll probably end up eliminating that anyways. We want to give our
But it's important that the applicants.
understand that, absolutely, absolutely.
And then, as Karina mentions, that's going to be an important piece of the rollout with PR, with communications, that everyone understands that they will not be.
Yeah, we may be able to specifically actually look at the actual organizations that have done it and rifle shoot and make sure that we let them know, because we'll have a record of that
Well,
too.
we have a record, but I
Yeah.
think they,
And the idea of suspending it, I think is a reasonable one. I think it's easy enough to look at grant applications and say, hey, this person has applied 3 times now, and now it's time for somebody else. Or this person has applied 3 times and they deserve a grant again. So, I think it is more objective.
Yeah, I agree. We should make this open. All right, that passes. I'm just going to move on to commissioner updates.
So just on the timeline, just wanted to confirm all of the dates, so in case we move forward with posting.
Well,
if
it's
I-
hard to look at this. We have
if-
to look at the calendar.
If I may.
Oh, you have it, okay.
Okay, so right now, I currently have September 19th, 2024, which is the date of our next commission meeting, is the date that we will have the establishment of the ad hoc committee.
Correct.
September 30th, 2024 will be the deadline for applications.
Correct.
October 7th will be the date in which the deadline for which staff will provide and distribute applications to all existing applications to Commissioner Wright, to the Arts Commission and the Ad Hoc Committee. Well, the Ad Hoc Committee will be provided the applications through Commissioner Wright.
Correct.
October 17th, applicants will be given the opportunity to appear at the Arts Commission meeting to answer questions and describe their projects. November 21st, Arts Commission will review, discuss, and decide on grant allocations. December 10th is a goal date, and this may be moved around just based on City Council need, but City Council to review and ratify Arts Commission recommendations. A rough
They
date.
so choose.
A rough, again, goal date here, January 10th, 2024, all grant applicants to receive notification of their application's approval or denial. And I picked that date just because it's the beginning of a new week in the new year. And then finally, next December 31st will be the due date for all awardees for the 2025 Arts Grant to submit their summary reports
All right,
to staff.
good.
Okay.
I think that's accurate. Yeah, and we'll definitely be looking at them this year. I don't, we gave to a lot of people.
Is it worth putting into the timeline, Arts Commission reviews, discusses, and decides on grant allocations as recommended by ad hoc committee? I would like to tie the ad hoc committee back into this
Well, I thought we did that. That
Timeline.
was the
Didn't say it.
November meeting, right?
November 21st,
21.
something, Arts Commission and ad hoc or
So I think
something,
we should say,
As
Arts,
recommended by-
Arts Commission receives
recommendation.
ad hoc recommendations, semicolon, reviews, discusses, and decides on. Because that will all happen.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But very, very good point.
Good. And that's all agendized.
And then
And do we vote on this calendar? Or are we good on this?
I'm curious if there needs to be any discussion tonight about the grant application
Yes, I think we do. I have
before
some
we move
points.
on to commissioners'
I have some,
comments.
I have some points on the application itself. I don't think we're ready for commissioner comments or to move on.
Okay. Oh, I thought the 2-year was the only thing that anyone had.
No, I've got a million more things.
Okay.
Maybe not a million, I have two, but Karina, who chairs this committee, I think has more. But I think first there was the question you asked, do we vote on the calendar? Will?
Some of these dates are very tentative. I think we'll bring forward at the next meeting a finalized timeline and list for all of you, and we'll provide you with a list before we post anything as well, so that we have
Yeah,
the chair
we'll know if
confirm.
we miss it.
Right.
Just one of my general questions as chair of the grants, do we have the authority to change the grant criteria, or is that something that would have to go back to
A
city
grant,
council?
criteria, I mean which criteria?
Like criteria, as in
How we evaluate it.
that a application from individual artists has to have a not-for-profit fiscal sponsor.
I see. Well, those
Like-
are application requirements, I think that Christine's
That,
talking
that
about right
type
now.
of thing. Because
Yes,
from what I read, from what the staff wrote, a process for submission and review. So does that mean we can alter the process?
That's what we're
and the
doing
review
right now, I
process?
think.
Okay.
So we're doing right now. If you have any suggestions on that, my suggestion was, let's make it as easy and, the feedback we got was from the community that it wasn't hard, that they have much harder applications they've had to do. So I want to just make sure it's very clear and it's very open, okay? And the 501c3 check or sponsor is just a traditional
That's important.
kind of check, kind of forensic on
Fiscal
money?
on a
responsibility.
fiscal responsibility. Because what an
money.
artist would actually be turning that over to someone who is a registered 501c3.
Any grant would require that. If I
Sometimes
may,
not, but yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Please, offer anything you have. We're on page 1 of,
I'm satisfied that the arts grant application addresses criteria. So, for example, in Part 2, the essay questions, B addresses goals. D addresses impact on the community. E raises the question of whether there's other funding that might be available to give some sense of responsibility and reliability. So to answer your question, at least for this year, I'm comfortable that criteria is identified, and because we're busy sort of getting back on the right footing here, my instinct is that we not mess too much with both the application as well as the criteria. I do, however, have one point, which is on the following page, page 6, Part 3, certifications and signatures. On the certification, the third bullet certifies that this project will comply with Fair Labor Standards Act. Now, I must tell you, I've been an attorney for many, many years, and I'm not sure that I would know how to certify whether my project would comply with Fair Labor Standards Act. So my suggestion, to make it simple, is to just say, instead of period, to say comma, if applicable, period. It may be
Do we
applicable.
need that? Do we need that sentence?
Let's not
My
worry
guess
about
is the
whether we do
attorney's
or
not gonna-
don't. Yeah, that may, the attorney may have said so, but I can't. Let's not worry. It may apply to certain nonprofits.
if applicable.
If applicable, I think we'll take care of it.
Applicable.
And then I've got no
Applicable.
other questions or concerns.
Well, you said millions.
There you go.
Because I know we cleaned this up last year from what was there.
No, I think the application is very clear. I was just curious, I really didn't give any forethought to actually changing, who can apply and if they had to be a not-for-profit, or if the individual had to have a not-for-profit
Well,
fiscal receiver.
we got some great applications last year using this, and we did some work on this last year. If we're going to list what we do right, what we do wrong, this wouldn't have hit the what we did wrong list. Do we need to vote on a little change like that to the application? Just some wording in there.
Yeah, no, it's just a wording change. I think that's fine. We'll take that back.
All right. Okay, good. Well, good luck. We're here to support you, Karina, whatever you need. You know what, I might, just as a suggestion, because I went through a process of applying for that county grant that was awarded, that was back in March or April. And our connections at the county now may provide us with some really nice, up-to-date, I hate to call it boilerplate, but some work that's been done, and particularly on the online application side. It may just be a page of code, or something like that. So I would, in your process, and if I can help, let me know. Let's talk to the county about how they actually turn it over to some of the other, I think it was what's the Ventura County CC? They turn it over to, there was an individual artist application one that was not for 501c3s, and then there was the 501c3s that the Venture Community Foundation. So there may be an opportunity for staff and for our commission here to learn from the county, and I know that they'd be dying to help us. That's what they want to do.
Do you think, I mean, just throwing this out there, why not just have two separate applications? One for the individual, one for the arts organization?
We don't have that. We don't have that.
Right.
Complicated to me.
Does it?
Yes.
Okay.
They did it that way. You've seen it that way.
If you're
but-
doing it online, you would check the box, I'm an individual, and then you wouldn't, throughout the application, it's asking you if you're an individual or an organization. If you're an individual, answer this part. If you're an organization, answer that part. It'd be more streamlined. if it
I
was
think,
just-
yeah, and again, that's where I think someone that does it that way, we can check with them, because and then the legals and the law stuff come in, that fair, that
Okay.
fair employment type thing. I remember that came up because of labor law and awarding contracts to minority groups and things like that. I think
Okay.
that's sort of, if you've outsourced work that the city's doing with the city's taxpayers, you want to make sure it's not all being done by a preferred group, you know. So
Right, if you
there's a lot of
hire a
little hidden
foundry
things.
or anything, so.
But I think what we have right now is good for this year, but we may learn more when we talk to the county. Yes, that's it. So we're on to reports here. Maybe I'll do David's, because he is not feeling well, but I'm very pleased to announce that David leads with some of your help and a lot of staff help, just at the request of the mayor this wasn't a direct Arts Commission function, but we were able to kind of gather expertise. And David's report is that about the beautification of Kent Hall. So there's images now. I haven't seen it yet. Who has seen it? Who has seen it? You guys have seen it, right? All right. They've repainted in there. Did they end up doing carpet? No, they had already done. It was new carpet. The work is done. Looks great. Kent Hall has 5 paintings that were graciously loaned by the museum, as well as 3 Ojai Day posters that he found in the archives of the Parks and Rec Department. He hung some additional posters in the overflow conference room, and the city manager approved that, and who was sort of the overseer of the whole project. We hired someone. So it wasn't, the city hired Richard Arman. Amen. Yeah, he wrote Arman here. And Michael at summer camp Richard did the installation, and Michael did frame the posters. The total costs were under estimate, and it included additional insurance on the 5 museum pieces. And he had hoped we'd all be able to walk over there, but we're not allowed to leave the meeting because everyone's listening, probably.
Well, maybe we can hold our next meeting in Kent Hall, so if.
Yeah, that might be cool.
That would be great.
All right, there's going to be some hurdles, I think, but we'd love to do that. Look at them over there smiling. Okay, who would like to go? I don't care what order. Do you want to give an education thing?
Sure.
Pamela?
So,
That's contrary to the agenda, can we do
yeah.
that?
We can vote on it.
Would you like to go first? Go
No,
ahead.
no, I'd love you to go first.
Okay. So, I'm in charge of education, and I put together some goals. I haven't started yet because I'm not really even sure where we're at with our budget or anything else.
Yeah.
But my personal goals as an art commissioner is to create 4 enrichment seminars this year in the next 12 months. Do 2 public events bringing together different art entities in our community. So what we did at the Ojai Valley Inn, where we gathered people together, part of our 5-year plan was to be very connective, to get people to know each other and interact with one another, support each other within the community. And I really see that as part of my job, I guess, I don't know. So create 2 public events to bring together art entities, and then create at least 10 mentorships. And those mentorships would connect an art professional with student and have that become a relationship.
Beautiful.
So those are my goals.
If
Great.
anyone wants to be an art lawyer, I would love to
Okay.
mentor someone who
All right.
can do that.
And I can tell you that the education seminars you did last year, and also that gathering at the inn, which was graciously supported by the end. Just the energy of getting the Ojai artists in the room, same sort of energy when they were in this room.
Well, just like
you
our
know.
presentations here, we have people stand up and talk
Yep.
about what they do. To have a gathering and have, maybe each person have 3 minutes to talk about what's on their agenda and what they're doing, so we can see how we can support one another.
Right. The people are so talented, you just get them together at the same place and time, and magic will happen.
And could you have some budget for refreshments? That
Yeah.
seems appropriate.
We have
And
well, we have an
then your
education
regular
budget. I'm not
fee
looking at it
fee.
right now, but we do have that budget.
I think
But
that's important to serve.
Make it warm and fuzzy.
Yes.
and-
Absolutely.
absolutely, absolutely. Christine, I know you've been busy.
I've been busy, but no refreshments, unfortunately. So I have just 2 things to report on. The first is sort of an open question, and Will, I think this is directed more to you, and that is related to El Roblar. So CAPA was held in February. El Roblar withdrew their application for a work and said they would come back to us. So that was in February. We're now in August. That's 6 months later. So I think we need to follow up with El Roblar to determine whether they intend to do so. And if appropriate, I think we should discuss as a body whether we want to impose a certain timeline. They're getting ready to open. That's terrific. Their attention, no doubt, is on getting everything done to, get to the finish line, and we don't want to interfere with that. But at the same time, we can't continue with the uncertainty of what's happening with that escrowed amount of money.
Yeah, and just to answer that, as it was addressed to me, I can certainly, and staff in general can certainly check in with the planning department, community development department, to see where that project is along the line, and if they've provided any updates on their intentions for public art and the public art requirement. In terms of the completion of their project itself, I know there is a requirement to satisfy this public art segment before they're issued their final permits. So it's something that has to resolve itself before they can move forward in completing their project.
Right,
And
but-
I'll have a conversation with our community development director and provide an update.
But, okay, just for protocol reasons, if I understood correctly, they replied to CAPA through you that they were withdrawing the application. They didn't go through community development. So I think because that's a lingering question addressed to you, I think you are the one who goes back to them to say, where are things on your plan to provide us with an updated. In other words, I think going to community development is going to take longer time because I think it's in your purview, not community development's.
Plan, you're talking about community planning.
No, well, I don't know. I mean, Will said
Planning is
planning,
encompassed
okay.
within community
Yeah.
development, yeah. Sorry to be.
So in other words, they wrote to you saying, we're going to submit something else. They never submitted something else. That was 6 months ago. I would like you to go back to them and say, where do things stand? Because you either need to submit something again by X, and I'd like us to determine what we think is the appropriate X, or that money, which is now escrowed, essentially becomes a part of the public art fund.
Yeah, so staff can certainly look into what, like from a staff liaison perspective, we can communicate directly to the private developers
Great.
whose project is overseen by community development, and we'll get back to you with whatever we can do, whatever information we can provide and what we can do as a direct channel communicating through or on behalf of the Arts Commission and CAPA
And when do you think
on
that
status.
can be done?
We can reach out to them, staff can reach out next week and request an update.
Okay, great. And do we, Smitty, do we want to talk among ourselves about what we think is an appropriate period of time for an entity with a public art, with a percent for art obligation to be able to satisfy that obligation?
Well,
or
I
do we
think,
want to leave it
I think
open?
we should sort of expect that, to receive that money in the public art fund. It would be the responsibility of the developer if they were
Well,
going
it's
to
already
do
in.
something else.
It's in and escrowed.
Right. So we have, they paid their token. If they choose to do their own project and try to get credit from that for it, it's their responsibility to run that past. Well, they've done their bit. They've put the money in escrow. So it will either come to the Public Art Fund, or they'll come to us with a proposal. I don't know what the
Precisely,
deadline
that's
is
what I
on
said
that.
earlier.
But
That's
it
my,
would,
but my question is, do we want that to linger forever, or do we want to put a certain time?
well, they
frame
can't
on
get
it?
open until they have all the permits satisfied. I'm sort of,
Yeah, again, that's just under the umbrella of the review done by the Community Development Department. So I wouldn't be able to, or Arts Commission wouldn't be able to impose deadlines that are based on community development-based procedures and policies that were already agreed upon and through their contract
Well,
with.
that's
So we can look into,
No,
we can look
that's
into.
not true, because CAPA, I mean, they went before CAPA, so you know that was a certain obligation. So yes, we can do that, absolutely. And we can, and that is separate and apart from community development. I hear what you're saying, though. It may be sort of a, what do they say, a tempest in a teapot, because they can't proceed, they can't get their final sign-off until they make some determination one way or another. That said, I kind of don't like that it was floating for 6 months, or, I mean, it's frankly an insult to CAPA to escrow that money and then not do what you're supposed to do. So I guess in this case, we can just let it slide.
right, just understand, I think if staff understands that pulling the CAPA together, because it'll change, it's a different CAPA now, and for a couple reasons. So, pulling
So-
that together and providing a quick answer, we see that as
Yeah,
Arts
'cause-
Commission
right,
responsibility.
Because if they're going to do it, we need to know, because we need to gear up. And if they're just going to say, we like things the way they are, and we are not going to submit another, we would like to know that. Okay,
There's the
that's-
theater in the end, same thing, right.
Yeah. Huh?
Other projects that are going
Oh,
on.
they're doing, right.
Playhouse
Their
and the-
attention is elsewhere. No, that makes total sense. Okay, I do have one more thing, and that relates to the public art conservation assessment. As you know, that was received in the beginning of the summer, and it's great. I would like for that to be discussed, just because it's so important for it to be widely understood. I'd like it to be an agenda item of our joint meeting with the city council. So that sort of begs the question when that would be. And because it's a multi-page thing, we should devote enough time to go through it screen by screen, so the council as well as the public knows what our public art is and in what condition it currently is.
Good.
How do we see that?
How do we see what?
Can I look at this?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
done.
yeah.
It's a public record now.
It's.
So
it will have-
we need to do that for us and our commission. We can't dictate these meetings that are supposed to occur. There's going to be a new mayor. There's going to be a new, I don't know.
But maybe it could happen.
I think we
there.
should, do this and at least make sure our liaison is present, our council
Only
liaison.
until January or so, because I'm.
But we have some next
Do we have
steps.
any sense of when we can have our next, when a joint meeting might be?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned this at our last commission meeting. City council's currently, it was preceded by budget season, which kind of consumes all council
Right.
time. Then we've had a recess for 2 council
Right.
meetings. So the next council meeting is August 27th, which likely that wouldn't be possible. So I'm looking at, we can have a discussion for later in September or early October. None of the commissions have met with council this year for their joint meetings. So you are the first that's slotted in. You're scheduled to be the first meeting.
Great.
And we'll make sure that we have a conversation and schedule that earliest possible time slot.
Was that law? Did they vote on that, or was that the mayor's idea? I'm trying to even recall.
For the joint meeting schedule?
Yes.
Just typically, Arts Commission, the way the annual schedule and calendar usually meets, Arts Commission meets before HPC and then planning.
What I mean is the idea that the council would meet with each commission. How did that, is that codified, or was that just someone's like good idea? Is it,
I believe that's
They
just
vote on it?
a practice that they've
I've never
wanted
seen-
to push forward, but I can check and see if that's actually solidified
right,
as a
our
policy.
expectations may be higher than reality here.
Well,
That's what I'm-
in any event, it will be lovely to have as sort of the main agenda item, looking at the public
public
art
art, yes,
in
absolutely.
our city, and having the council as well as the public fully aware of the status of these works.
Yeah, it's,
So the sooner the better, if you and all can push for that. And that's all I have on public art.
okay, thank you. I think I told you guys, I met with the mayor of Avalon, and we went around and compared our two cities and what we do with the arts, and it was a very interesting meeting, and there may be some collaborations ahead. One thing in particular was about how all their public art, they have some beautiful public art. It seemed more like a happenstance thing that happened when some artist would fall in love with Catalina and would show up there and do something, and they don't have an arts commission. They do have a whole lot of low-cost housing over there, though. They don't have homeless encampment issues like we do, but it was just interesting to compare and contrast the two cities, about the same size, about the same budget, and in fact, our manager used to work over there as well, so we have a lot in common there too. But the only other thing I wanted to mention was our technology. I'm going to table that because I think there'll be some news here tonight from the liaison report. Is council liaison with us? Whitman?
Where's our council liaison?
Is he with us?
No, he's not present.
Okay, thank you. All right. Future agenda items. We kind of set some, didn't we?
I have a couple more comments.
Karina gets to.
Oh, I'm sorry, Karina.
Um,
Please.
Obviously, been working on these, the grants, and I've spent a greater part of the week, trying to find information out about the grants on the website. What is the mission of the Ojai grants, for instance? And I am so delighted that Christine has given me her section of her Arts Commission handbook tonight, because it's all laid out here, and it would have saved me a lot of frustration, so.
Although it's woefully out of date.
But it
and
actually-
that has to be a chore of the staff to put
It
together.
actually states the grant's mission, which is something I thought we were going to have to establish. So I'm really relieved that we have the grant's mission, because one of the things that the ad hoc committee would be looking at would be how the applicant obviously aligns with the grant's mission.
But we don't know if that mission is consistent with our 5-year plan. I wouldn't rely on it, because we have radically, which is the reason we need an update, we've radically changed certain aspects, both to bring us up to, let's say, mostly current best practices in the arts, as well as the sort of time.
I understand, and this grant goals are very vague. You'll be relieved to know. Encouraging artistic excellence, which on my list would be number 1, artistic excellence, just naturally. They promoting, encouraging arts and cultural activities in the city of Ojai. So that's the impact piece. Community engagement, artistic impact, collaborative effort with the community, which here they say encouraging community partnerships and artistic collaboration. So it's not all-encompassing, and it's not, going to be a problem. And also looking at different rubrics for scoring grants and all kinds of fun things like that. But as an aside, I wanted to tell you that I had a studio tour with Ted Gall, whose work I was not familiar with beyond his public sculpture at the skate park.
Very different.
Which is very different. And I found his work to be very intriguing, very imaginative, full of humor, social commentary. His studio itself is, stupendous, right? And these huge bays, and a talent of sculpting, casting, etc. And it definitely made me pause about getting rid of the gear at the skate park if we had to, and looking forward to finding out what is going to happen with that conservation.
But who said we were going, I don't understand where that
There was
even
one-
came from.
There was one discussion that it was in such ill repair that it might be taken out of the public art program.
In the conservation, that hasn't happened, and that isn't even what the recommendation was. The conservation report did acknowledge, given the graffiti and its state, that perhaps it should be relocated, but I think that's a whole different question. And it's not today's question.
No,
Okay.
no.
Thank
But I
you.
just want you to know, I'm a new fan of Ted Gall.
Yeah, it's
Um,
something.
And,
I feel like a little boy when I ride
and,
around his stuff.
looking at his website and trying to read about Ted Gall, and just seeing the information that he has on his website. There's a link to the Ojai Studio Artists Gallery, and just a very minimal amount of writing about his work. And it just, led me to want to express the importance that the Ojai artists should be figuring out, learning about how to get people to write critically about their work, for their websites, for reviews, whatever it is, so that it's a little bit more professional. It's obviously reaches more people. It's just something that I'm taking pause over, because it's obviously really important and can change how people view your work.
I was going to say, a few years ago, before COVID, a few years ago, I received a grant before I was on the Arts Commission to do videos, small
Oh, yeah.
videos of some of our more significant artists. And I think we made 21 videos. Ted was one of them. Not sure he has it on his website. But the idea was like a 3-minute video to document some of our talents in town. But I absolutely agree, there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Well, I think, this commission is a good place for that to kind
Right,
of
so
rest.
just-
And I think if you look at our plan, or in our 5-year plan, we're committed to enhancing the vocation of artists.
Right.
Because the kind of thing that makes you a brilliant creator doesn't necessarily make you a great writer, or a great marketer, or a great estate planner, or tax, expert, or so. So we can
And-
be that educational side,
And I was just curious if you had, I can't remember, did or thought about doing an educational workshop for artists on how to write an artist statement.
Yes.
You did, right? And did people show up? And
Yes.
Good.
We've done that, not through the Arts Commission, but through. Sorry. We have done workshops on writing artist statements, but that definitely is one that I would love to do again for the enrichment seminars, because that is a very important aspect of being an artist, is being able to have a good statement and a good elevator speech, being able to take that a two-page statement and be able to, just off the top of your head, say who you are and what you do, so.
And the other totally unrelated comment I wanted to make was the exhibition at the old decor storefront on Montgomery. It's a photography exhibition by a photographer named Rennie Maslow, called Signs of Life, and it's large-scale photography, mostly landscapes, New York, Los Angeles, even Ojai. And it's definitely worth stopping in. They've gutted the space, and it really has that kind of raw contemporary art gallery feel. And I was just so, again, reminded of how we really could use a strong contemporary art space in this town.
Is it a gallery?
It's a pop-up. It's
Who's pop-up?
I guess it's just the
The photographer?
the woman who's taking over decor space is in the middle of renovating it. So while she's getting permits and stuff, she allowed for this exhibition to go forward. And originally thought that they might divide the space and use part of it as an exhibition space. But she told me the feng shui wasn't right. So she's not going to be going forward with that.
And what is she going
Permit.
to do there?
More decor type of
Oh,
things,
so
housewares.
housewares and
Gift.
clothing and
Mhm.
gift items.
hmm
Great,
But maybe sell some art.
right.
We'll see. And that's
That's
that.
it, thank you,
And
Corinne.
one more thing,
Oh.
just, Will, so we are going to just assume that this new application is going to be up on the website in due time?
Yeah, staff will communicate with you on changes to the application and just confirm that everything looks okay before we launch anything on the website. So we'll be in communication with the commission, make sure that everything's up to give a sufficient amount of time to meet the September 30th deadline that's
Right,
been established
at least
here.
30 days.
Yeah, so we'll
Okay,
be in contact.
okay, awesome.
Okay, we gave you some agenda items for the grant stuff earlier. Just a reminder to anyone who's doing an event type thing, you have more of those. The process is, as I understand it now, before the city can release funds, even from our budget, which we have to know who it's going to, where the event is, and and what's the date. Are those the things that you need? And then it has to be agendized, which means it has to, be before the public for 5 days before the meeting.
Yeah, so anytime we're using any public funding from the general fund or a special fund, any arts commission related funding, we would just need to have that on the agenda, the amount specified, and a conversation open to the public to be able to weigh in on any decisions you're making related to public funds.
So, let me get this straight, because this is gonna be my issue. So before we have an Arts Commission meeting, I need to have the who, what, when, and where, so we can vote on that, and then that can be approved, and then money can be released, or it has to be agendized again after I do that. Okay,
No, yeah, so once that is properly, the item's properly agendized, the funding's indicated prior to the Arts Commission meeting, and then the Arts Commission approves that funding allocation, we can move forward and allocate a check request form to whoever you're looking to spend or, funding on.
now, if at our next meeting, I come in with my 4 subjects, people who are going to give the seminars and the locations and the dates, we can do that all in one meeting, correct? Okay,
Cool. I think it can be a consent item. It doesn't
That's what I
have to
would
turn
like
into a
to
big
do.
argument.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
it's good that you clarified, because you were really whipsawed last year. I mean, you thought you were doing it right, and then it got, in fact, you were told you were doing it right, and then it wasn't, so, yeah,
then we
good
had to
for you
stop,
for
so,
clarifying.
okay. And then, can I make it, or Are we going to have a moment to sign off too? Because,
We're doing future agenda items
Okay.
right now.
very good.
So I was encouraging you to use that
Yes.
agenda item as when you need money for something. Most of everyone else's is big, separate, clunky things, yeah. So agenda items can be made, right, you can make recommendations now, or you can make them at any time. So they just need to be in to staff, so they're ready a week before our next meeting.
Didn't you have an agenda item you wanted to
What I would like on the agenda, sort of as the template will go, on the template going forward, where it says number 4, presentation, I would like it to say community arts presentation, or presentation by community arts entities, or,
Artists?
well, I know we do
Entities.
entities, we do organizations, we don't do individuals. And I think that's important in part for impact and broad reach. There was I may have something, or I might not, in terms of public art. I'll let you know if that comes up, but I don't have it right now.
Okay. All right, liaison.
Thank you, Chair. So today we have 2 staff liaison reports. The first is related to our request for qualifications, or RFQ, for qualified art consultants. Before I begin, I wanted to thank Vice Chair Steiner on a ton of support in getting this process forward and reviewing the RFQ and working with various community groups and organizations to help advertise this item. So significant amount of support in pushing this forward, and I know it's overdue. So basically, today, just providing an opportunity for the commission to receive update regarding the status of the RFQ. Earlier this year, the Arts Commission requested that staff initiate the process to update the city's pre-qualified list of art consultants. Since the initial creation of the existing list, we couldn't find any record of a time where we advertised an RFQ to update this list. And it spans back at least 4, 5, 6 years from its original creation. So very overdue. The purpose of the RFQ is basically to help further establish a list of art consultants who have the experience and capability to perform tasks related to the City of Ojai's public art program. I know which we spoke about a little bit earlier, related to CAPA, and private developments in town that necessitate a public art component. The public art program requires, certain private developed projects to include artwork on site to the project, that it's accessible to the public for a specified time period. And private developers who intend to take part in this public art program are essentially provided a pre-qualified list that includes a vetted group of art consultants that are deemed to be qualified by this commission. So what we've done is we've sent out, and it's attached to the staff report, a request for qualifications to a few different relevant arts sites, but we've also included just kind of a clear and concise list of necessary requirements and information that needs to be provided in order to apply for this list. So I think specifically just some items that would need to be included if you were looking to submit an application to be considered for the pre-qualified list. That includes providing your name and, if applicable, the name of the firm you're representing, the individual or firm's principal place of business, website information, as well as a copy of their resume, including previous projects, experience, education, credentials, as well as providing up to 10 images that best represent public art projects that the individual or business has managed, and an optional brief letter of interest outlining relevant experience completed within the course of their work. Again, to submit the application itself and to be considered for this opportunity, we've set a deadline of 5 p.m. on Wednesday, September 18th. Applicants may only submit one application for consideration, and applicants must submit their complete application package via email to my account, for the city of Ojai, and my email for any applicants that were interested. It's on the city website under Will Petner, Management Analyst, and my email is will.pettener@ojai.ca.gov. And again, this staff report would be, with that information, will be available on our website.
Well, I have a question. Where are you advertising this?
That was exactly my question.
How are people going to know about this?
Sure. So we've advertised the RFQ specifically in 3 separate forums for the arts. I know Vice Chair Steiner. I know I sent you that list previously. It includes trying to blank
Public
out.
Art Network?
Public Art Network in the Los Angeles area, as well as 2 separate entities, which I can provide at the next meeting if you'd like.
Well, the next meeting will come after
items.
the deadline.
Right, right.
So, have you applied for Cafe? Do you know about Cafe?
I have not.
Okay. I mean, I'm just thinking
we're happy
some of the
to.
places that artists and art consultants would be looking.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, who's going to know about this? You know, like, how many people do I know to send this to? Because I don't, well, what are you thinking? I mean,
Well, I mean, certainly it should be PAM, the Public Art Network, and there's a Los Angeles entity, so presumably they have it and they have sent it out through their group. I would also do Art Table. There's a lot of advisors, and it can be national people. I mean, people like to come to Ojai. There's no reason to make it local. It certainly should be local as well. It should be in the Ojai Valley News. I think it should be in, I would coordinate with your colleagues who, as you know, have been very helpful, both the Metro person as well as the West Hollywood person, and ask them where you think it should go for the broadest reach, because they deal.
September 15th is right around the corner. I mean, to
Right,
put
there's
together
Well, but for art advisors, it's not a big deal for them. They already have this stuff.
And what about our friend at the county?
Yeah, I don't know why we have that deadline set, how we
Well,
set it.
I know why we have the deadline. We have the deadline because there are going to be projects coming down the pike. This isn't a statutory obligation that essentially the city has been ignoring. And I have not been on this commission that long, but I asked Luis, I asked Weston, I then asked Robin, I then asked Kiara, I then asked Carl, and now I've asked Will, and finally it's getting done. And so I think the sooner we do it, the better.
Right, and I just want to say, this is, thank you for doing this, because I could tell a lot of work went into it, and it covers all our bases and everything. But as I read it, why would I be interested in this? We may have to do a little marketing of our own, but at least we have the backbone and the structure of how we get these people.
Well, and
Are people?
the list can be iterative. Listen, I mean, that list, when I looked at it, the first time I looked at it, when I asked Luis to update it, it contained people who were no longer living. It contained people who were retired. It contained people who went on to be appraisers instead of art advisors. It was so out of date. And again, it wouldn't matter to me as much if it weren't an absolute statutory obligation of this city to have available arts advisors for public art projects. So the sooner we
doing
do
it.
it, the better.
We're doing it, yeah. But
And
I don't
again,
know that adding a
Thank you, Will,
deadline.
for all of this information.
I'm not sure adding a deadline makes
can
them
be-
come in.
But it can get a group in, and then we can.
And we can
Run it again.
continue, right, exactly, but we need to get at least a list, yeah, yeah.
And give a sense of urgency.
And we can do it annually. Every year, you can send out the same RFQ and give the same deadline, and we just add to the list. Yeah, but at least we get something going.
Would something like this go out in an email to people who subscribe to the city emails?
That's certainly an option. We could
Just-
link this on the constant contact portal, which is how we distribute our
Feels a little
agendas.
like
We can,
catching butterflies with elephant nets, or whatever you want to say. I think
Yeah,
that's
there's
a little
probably
too
5
broad.
people in Ojai
yeah.
that might even qualify.
Yeah.
But they,
So-
I was just thinking
Who
they
do we
would
send
have
it
something
to?
to forward on. I mean, there's architects in this town. There
Well,
are
cities, governments,
designers. There
government does
are all kinds of
RFQs and
people.
Ps all the time, and I think the expectation, if you're gonna work for government, is to go to the government's websites anyways, and see them advertised in the, I don't know, what email list would you use?
I don't, the people who subscribe to the city emails, I get them all the time.
Uh-huh.
Just different information.
I defer to Will.
Yeah, I just trying to broaden the net.
Thank you, Will.
thank you.
Will's not finished.
So one more
Thank you
item.
for doing
Oh, yeah,
that.
thank you for doing that, indeed.
worries.
It was a big task, thank you.
No worries. Thank you for your support. Next item, I know it's probably been a looming item on the staff report or on the agenda itself. It's been a pleasure serving all of you for the past 6 months since I've been with the city. But today, I think you've all noticed Mr. James Ranger to my right, who's been shadowing me and supporting with some of our meeting content today. Moving forward and effective the next Arts Commission meeting, James will be taking over as the staff liaison for your commission. And so I wanted to provide an opportunity and a set moment for James to be able to introduce himself to you all. And I know we'll have some transitional moments and opportunities to pass more documentation information along. But again, just an intro for James, who is just an extremely hardworking member of our city and does a ton to get a lot of our city council meetings and our commission meetings set. And so I know he'll bring a lot to the table in this role. So, James.
Yes, I'm very happy to be of service to this commission. I have 20 years' experience in a technical capacity working in live production. Also, my undergraduate degrees were in English and history before going on to graduate studies in computer science at CSUN. I went directly from graduate studies into biotech, and with the pandemic, I actually went to work for the county in the executive offices. I also maintain several web pages there, including venturo.org, VC Recovers, and Ventura County News Channel. And I came to Ojai as my significant other is also a member of the performing arts community for more than a decade. But very happy to provide whatever services I can to this commission, and I hope to help facilitate.
Thank you, James.
Welcome aboard. We are, we look forward to a long and happy relationship. And the sort of seriatim number of people I mentioned earlier sort of indicates that I think to some extent the Arts Commission is a bit of a stepchild in the city, and that's really unfortunate. We'd like to have continuity. We'd actually like to have, like a real staff, but we'd like to have a department the way Recreation has a department in planning and et cetera. But nevertheless, we would at least want one dedicated staff liaison. So what other duties will you have? I mean, are you going to be running tech for the entire city plus in your spare time helping us?
I am a part of our IT department. There's myself and also James Hahn, so we have the two Jameses. So we do provide the technical support to the city, but this will also be something that, as a member of the city manager's office, that I'll also be able to allocate some time to assist with. My understanding is you have many technological goals. I can assist with those and just
Great.
generally to facilitate what the council needs.
That is music to the ears of our chair, I
Yeah, I
know,
was
who's
excited
on the
today.
Are you going to be
technology
running
drumbeat.
the technical aspects of the meetings as the staff liaison?
Generally, I can. We are currently doing a trial run of that, so we're going to see how it goes. But I believe that I will be able to handle the video switching capacity. There may be some times that the camera may not switch over to me as frequently, such as now, but generally my focus will be on being the liaison first and possibly the technical capacities, at least making sure that the art is visible to the community through the broadcast.
Great. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
James. Are you done with yours? I might have a question for you. Just like an update from the city. I know that they've been hiring people. I know that you had like a job fair or something like that. Or how's things going?
Yeah, it's a busy time. I know right now. So currently, my capacity within the city manager's office includes HR management and risk management, legislative affairs. HR has been very busy. We have 6 active recruitments right now going on, and I mean we have a city staff of 40 total full-time staff and 20 part-time. So we have a lot going on. We're quickly moving forward. We have new management team that's bringing kind of an enthusiastic air of growth to our programming, our policies, our departments, and I think. I hope the community will be able to see in the next few months a lot of furthering of, our goals and objectives from the city in general. So that's what I got for today.
No, that's great. I maybe the liaison to the Arts Commission is more of a springboard, right? Because our last 3 are now still here, which is nice. So.
We'll miss you, Will. You have given us great service. We will miss you, Will. You've given us great service, and again, you got the RFQ done when no one else did, and that's just one of the many things you've accomplished. So thank you.
Appreciate you all. It's been a pleasure, and I really do appreciate how much you all. It's very evident how much you all care about the community and the arts growth in our community, and your passion is clear and noted and appreciated. So thank you all.
One last thing. Last meeting, I brought this brochure in. We are trying to find how to reprint this brochure, James. Maybe you can help us with that.
I'll be happy to look into seeing what we might be able to do with that.
Do you want to give it to James, or
Just
are you
have-
afraid to let it go?
I promised the museum that I would bring it back to them as their last copy. So,
Even if we do it doesn't even have to be that nice. If we could get a temporary offset.
I could redo it.
Oh, it's in
for
a
you.
file somewhere. We just need to talk to the commissioner.
I
who
could
did
get
that.
those ordered if,
But there,
we need the,
well, if we have the artwork, I can get it reprinted, and if we don't have the artwork, I can have it redone, I can redo it for us.
but we.
gotta be
It's.
Do you have a copy of this?
I don't.
Can you lend it to Pam? She's trustworthy.
It's,
You have to file an
it's an
ethics
Arts
statement.
Commission document.
Let me take photos of it with my phone.
We just need to ask Christine or Golden or.
with the city, this is a city-produced document, it should be available, part of their public communications, so.
Yeah, we can search through our records again. Previously, when we searched, we didn't find any indication that there is a workable, editable document that we see.
Let me see what it is.
I think we just.
If nothing else, I'll give it back to you, I'm just.
Is this your commissioner comments? You can just continue if you have more. Do you have more commissioner comments? Because we're doing commissioner comments now. All right, good.
I have a comment.
I would just make one call to the commission. It might be Christine Golden or it might be someone who had it's because probably had printers.
Whoever did that, though,
Computer.
should have turned it over to the city. It
should have, but
not be in
we can't find it, though.
individuals.
Has one, but the new commissioners don't have.
Actually, I'm going to give this back to you because if we end up doing it,
Because I
I
remember.
think
I
somebody
know.
has a file.
Yeah, because
But you know what?
these people are all around here. Andy Gilman's on there.
I mean, ideally, it would just be a link
A
to
file.
the Ojai app, and people would just do this all electronically.
It is.
Reminder, microphones, please.
Ideally, this would be all electronic and it would be part of the Ojai app that people are so fond of. And they could just click on it and go on their public art walking tour.
Yeah, it is actually is on our website. We put it there during COVID, I remember. All right, commissioner comments, sorry. No, you're supposed to talk now. It's commissioner comments. Have you, go ahead, Christine.
Are you through with your comments? I just want to notice a note, and I hope I'm not stealing Pam's thunder, that tomorrow evening at the museum, 5 to 7, is the Ojai Studio Artists event. Pam, I guess you'll talk about that.
I was going to talk about that and also the animal party, so.
Oh, great. So I'll let Pam finish with that. And I just want to sort of say that today Best Lawyers came out with their announcements of this year's sort of best lawyers. And again, this year, I was recognized in the art law category. I just wanted to sort of say that.
Congratulations. Did they mention me?
You
Pamela.
Okay. So I have a couple comments. One is, yes, tomorrow night at the Ojai Museum from 5 to 7 is the opening of Outside, Upside Down or something? It's the opening for the Ojai Studio Artist Show, and it leads up to the October tour, which is the second weekend in October. We also have, if you could pass me that postcard that I gave you, we're having a party on August 31st. It is required a ticket because it's a fundraiser for the Ojai Valley Museum and for OSA. And there will be donated artwork by artists that can be bought. They're raffle tickets that will provide money for our scholarship fund.
James, can that be zoomed in on, or is that not possible? We're testing your technology.
Not from the dais.
Okay. So anyhow, if you go to the Ojai Studio Artists website, or if you go to the museum website, you'll see the graphics for this. And, you know, one of the things that we do on the Arts Commission in our grant program is trying to give money to the community to help support the arts. And this helps support the museum, and it helps support the Ojai Studio Artist Tour, and it helps our scholarship fund, which helps support budding artists in our community. And the last thing I wanted to say is I went to the concert at Smitty's place on Tuesday night, and apparently every Tuesday night, or
The second Tuesday of the month.
second Tuesday of the month
Don't know.
at Smitty's farm, he has these concerts, and here I am on the Arts Commission, friends with Smitty. I didn't know. I'm not a social media buff, so I did not know what was going on, and it was fantastic. And I encourage everyone to come and buy tickets and go to your concerts, because they were great. And, but buy tickets to go to this. It's going to be really fun. The artists are going to be dressed like animals, and costumes are welcome for all people who come, and good food and all that kind of stuff, entertainment.
Good.
That's it.
All right. And me, let me see. The Ojai Music Academy, which is myself and Julia have incorporated this year too, is pleased to announce our scholarship program for our children's choirs. Thanks to a gift from the Ojai Rotary Club and some other donors, we are offering scholarships for young people of need to at any age, any sex, to be a member of the Ojai Pixies Girls Choir, the Ojai Blossoms Girls Choir, or the Ojai Sons. And the information can be found at ojaimusicacademy.com. It's not .org. I want to thank...
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you. We're very, very pleased to be doing this. Kathleen Schaefer from the Film Society, thank you so much for your presentation this evening. Very, very exciting to see the bowl used so well. Special thank you to Will for being our guy, and springboarding along. And I was happy to see record budget, a healthy Ojai. We have things to improve, but in my visit to other cities recently, we sure do a lot of things well and are the envy of many cities. And I want to thank you. And James, I've been waiting for this day when we got our techie guy, and we're not going to let you go. So the springboard is closed now. Get well, David Leeds. He's not feeling well. We'll see him next month, but thank you for the beautiful work you did in Kent Hall. And I think that's what I have, unless Council Andy Mann is there. Is there anything from? City Council? Very good. All right, so we're going to adjourn this meeting, and we'll see you next month on the third Thursday.